Hi, Sharks. My name is Pamela Redmond, and I'm here seeking $350,000 for 5% of my company. Shoo. Sharks, we all have a name, but have you ever stopped to wonder about the impact of your name on you and your life? Kevin, let's take your name, for instance. Kevin means handsome in the Irish language, but it can also mean kind, gentle, and beloved.
All true.
Doesn't fit.
Talk about a self-fulfilling prophecy for thee, Mr. Wonderful.
Yes.
And Mark, your name comes from Mars, the Roman god of war. Maybe that's where you get your competitive spirit. Lori, your name comes from the laurel tree, which is an ancient symbol of victory and honor. Maybe that's why you have such a drive to win and such a sweet way of celebrating when you do.
Thank you.
Kendra, your name started out, as many female names do, as a form of a male name, Kenneth, but it's achieved complete independence, which is very fitting for a solo entrepreneur who started a billion-dollar business. Damon, your name is an Old English surname that means keeper of livestock.
Great, she is.
It's true. It's true.
Oh my God.
How perfect is that for a keeper of bees? Sharks, I've always been fascinated by the power of names to shape our identities. That's why I started Nameberry, the world's largest website devoted to baby names. We have a 70,000 name database, thousands of lists, an active community, daily blog and newsletter, and a revolutionary name generator called Baby Name DNA. As the premier experts in our field, we offer insights and advice to millions of name lovers and seekers every month. So whether you're looking for original names, track celebrity trends, or even analyze your naming style based on your zodiac sign, we have you covered. So Sharks, who wants to help me reinvent baby names for the next generation?
Let's go. I am Dave, 10-year intellectual property attorney, dealing with everything from, you see the shirt, patent, copyright, trademarks, as well as trade secrets. And again, this is going to be an interesting one for a number of reasons. First, $350K for 5%. What is that? 23, well, almost around $6 million evaluation. So I would imagine that she has some sales to kind of back this up, or some subscriptions, it seems like in this case, to back it up. Hey, we talk about Nameberry, and for those of you who don't know, man, in the African-American community, some names are pretty interesting. So she talked about Damon's and his being a kind of keeper of livestock, but you will see like the Shaniquas and the Shatina, whatever the case may be, and you see some interesting names in the Black community. I would imagine I would be interested in knowing the origin or the backstory to those names, if any. But again, those are just some kind of my thoughts initially. Please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, as well as hit the subscribe button to be a part of the IP community. I would love to have you a part of the IP community, where we're continuously growing. We're at over 2,200 subscribers, so we're growing. The three things that I look for in these pitches, plus that bonus one, is how simple it is, which again, it seems like it has some complexity to it, not necessarily for the user, but definitely kind of what she seems like she's built out. How effective is it? Kind of will tell based on the sales as well as the reviews. I think the last lady who we had did Charm, she was doing $10 million. So talk about being effective. Definitely effective if you're doing $10 million in sales a year. What's the market like? Clearly, it's a big market. People are having dozens of babies every day, or in the U.S., I would probably say millions of babies across the world, but I would probably say thousands, tens of thousands of babies every day here in the U.S. So you'll definitely, I guess it's always in play, it's always in motion. The service is always needed, let's just say. So again, the market is there. I definitely don't see anything like it out there. So even though it's a big market, I don't think this is something that maybe the way she's doing it, I don't see any kind of service out there, any app out there, any provider out there is doing it. I would imagine that there's some kind of companies that help you out with naming babies and things like that, but I haven't seen anything to the extent that what kind of Pam is doing with Nameberry. Then the last thing, but Lisa's the IP, the intellectual property. Are you protecting the IP? I actually did not get a chance while she was doing the pitch because I wanted to listen to see whether or not she had Nameberry trademark. I will do that as she continuously talking. But one of the things that, again, I'm telling you, I don't watch these things ahead of time. But hey, I've been doing it long enough where I see some buzzwords that kind of make my ears perk up. And when she's talking about the baby name generator, and it seems like she didn't say kind of a unique algorithm or whatnot, but when you're saying baby generator that helps you generate a name, that lets me know it's some type of algorithm that's kind of taking these inputs and kind of kind of mixing it up, so to speak, to spit out a name. So I would imagine that she has some type of a patent or patent pending on that process, on that method for generating baby names based on a variety of inputs. Let's see if I'm right or if I'm wrong. Like I said, I don't look at these episodes ahead of time. I kind of try to give you my real, authentic, raw reactions. But again, when she says baby generator that helps you generate that baby name, that's kind of something that kind of played in my head. So let me see if I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong on it. Let's see here. But those are some of my initial thoughts. Please let me know your comments in your thoughts in the comment section as this goes on. And like I said, 350,000 for 5%. I would imagine that she's making some money on this thing. So let's go back to it and let's do it. Let's go.
That's very interesting.
Pamela,
Thank you.
That's a very
Intriguing.
interesting
Yeah, thank
valuation
you.
you've got there.
Well, before you get to valuation, how do you source your data?
Well, I have written 10 books about names starting in 1988, which is why I own all of my own IP.
Wow.
We've been around for 15 years. We have been profitable for 10 of those years.
Okay, so let's talk about how you make money.
We make money from advertising at the moment, but you come in because we want to change that model.
What's the model going to be?
We want to bring AI to Nameberry.
So there's only two ways that can go. All this, name generation, etymology of names, the large language models are going to figure all those out across languages, right? And they'll feed, and that's, you know that already, right?
Yes.
And then the second side of it is you can sell all your information that you have
Right.
to a particular large language model because they're very competitive.
My preference is to train our own model on our own data. We have like
A lot of money.
millions of pages of information developed over 40 years. It's a singular property.
So then it's a question of how much are you willing to spend, and it's not $300,000 or $500,000, right? To own your own model that you train yourself on unique data is more expensive than that.
Pamela, one of the big players has built a stack that you would sit on top of, and they've done a lot of the hard work
Right.
for you, and they would take 20-30% of your revenue for just providing the infrastructure and the stack and maintain it for you.
Kevin, when they do that, they're trying to steal from you,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Yeah,
course,
I
of
don't
course,
think
right.
that's
Yes,
very
and
cool.
part of the reason I'm here is because I feel like you can help us defend this really singular piece of
Is it
IP.
defensible long term? I question that.
I
Is it-
think it is because it's internal data. It's data that only we have.
Okay, my 2 cents is, companies will do their own,
Right.
right? Where the money is for you
Mhm.
is to license what you have
Data.
to them. And if you can prove to them that there's a lot of value, that it'll generate a lot of responses to prompts, then you can get $1 million, $5 million.
Well, maybe you can help me do that.
That's a lot of work, right? And I'm not going to write you a check to do it. For those reasons, I'm out.
Okay. For me, I look at this and I just think it's really very fascinating. But as far as a business, I just feel like this isn't something that I could really sink my teeth into. I'm sorry.
I get it, Lori. I love you, and
Thank you.
but I knew
Okay, so
that.
Pamela, let's go back to your business to understand why you
Yeah.
valued it at $7 million.
Okay,
still wanna
well,
know the
right
numbers.
now we're ad supported. We have 4 million unique visitors a month, 20 million page views. Last year we made 1.1 million, and we netted 650,000.
Okay, that's not
That's
a
a good
bad.
living. Yeah, that's a
Not
good
bad
living.
business.
Yeah.
When you look at the ads on your site, the
I want to stop it here, and I apologize for stopping it at that point as Mr. Wonderful was giving his dissertation there. But again, I know Lori went out, Mark went out, but she talked about having 10 books, which again, I thought that was interesting because those would be copyrights that she's owned for the life of the author, which is her. So for her life, plus an additional 70 years, she owns that copyright, or in other words, that IP surrounding the books. I do think maybe Mark is right, but it's a catch-22, right? It's like, okay, do you provide that data to others and in exchange for some money, which obviously, they're going to take the data. So kind of that's tough. And it's a lot of work to be able to kind of do that and kind of get to that point where you're getting paid from somebody who's kind of willing to kind of take the data that you think is valuable. Seems like Kevin is like, man, I still need to know how this thing is making money. She's not doing bad. Advertising, it seems like is their model currently, $1.1 million, 600,000 in profit. So just think, she's making money right now. She's still making money. It's not like she's not making money now. She just seems like she's trying to scale it and grow it and kind of maybe get AI involved, which I don't think is necessarily a bad idea. And for those of you who don't know, you can have AI used in your system, your process, or your method, and that it's still patentable. So I think she does have something that, as she kind of has AI play a role in her baby generating data or method or whatever the case may be, that she still can get that patentable. It's just about, okay, are you training these LLMs yourselves? Are you using other people's data? Like, how are you going about it? And it can kind of get expensive. Let's get back to, like I said, Mr. Wonderful, and see what he's going to say about it, because I don't know. This is an interesting one. I'm on a kind of halfway with Lori as far as, is this really a kind of business idea that I'd be interested in, or maybe not? But again, she's making money, which is the most important thing you want to do in business, is make money. So let's see what Mr. Wonderful says. Let's go.
Banners that are appearing, they're around the genre of childbirth, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and that's generating 1.1, and it's pretty steady.
Yes.
So how many registered users do you have?
We have 100,000 people on our newsletter list.
What's your open rate?
About 50%, depending on.
50% on the 100,000 email?
50%?
Kevin, that's better than
Wow.
anything you got.
Well,
Yeah, it's like 20.
I will say one thing about the data. It's very, very hard today to capture the mother or father's name at time of birth. It's really hard. You can't get it from the hospital. There's all kinds of data scraping trying to figure out when they buy their first Pampers and all this other stuff. But you may be the cleanest, truest source. Are you capturing all the people in any way, either cell or email address?
We are not doing that right now.
Okay, now I have to kill you. Why aren't you doing that?
It hasn't been our model.
But that actually is something you could turn on now, because that data is very valuable
Yes.
to a giant infrastructure of companies that
Yes.
sell
Yes.
to childbirth.
Okay, so I'm struggling with two things. I think that I'm struggling with how I could be of value, because this really is super tech. I'm struggling with that and how I can really add value to that. And the other thing I'm struggling with is why did my mother name me after a goat herder?
Right.
So I'm out.
Thank you.
So what's the ownership cap table on your company?
I own 66%. I have a tech partner who owns 28% and another partner who owns 5%, who's non-participating partner.
I think this is so cool, but this is a tech play, right? I'm just not the one for you, and for that reason, I'm out.
I don't think it's a tech deal. I think it's a giant negotiation between three behemoths that are developing language models. It's a very interesting deal, Pamela. Here's an offer. 350,000, 33 1/3%.
How about this as an offer? I will give you 3 times the equity, 15% for $700,000,
Not a
twice the money.
chance. Not a chance. I don't know how fast you get disrupted. That's the challenge.
I would
don't even
love
know.
to be in business with you,
Well,
but
I
I'm not
just
going to
made-
give you 33%.
Okay, give me 40.
The most I want to give is 24.9% because
Why?
then I get to keep 50.1%.
You can retain
Oh,
control.
well,
yeah.
do that,
Yeah.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Come on.
So you've thought it through, Pamela.
I've thought it through.
All right, I'll take that deal. I'll take that.
I
Wanna
love
do it?
it.
Yeah, right.
Wanna
She's
do
like,
the
do I
market?
do it?
Yes or no? Yes or no?
What
Yes.
happened? He got so
I think that's brilliant, Kevin.
Yes.
You're just too interesting. Nice to meet you.
Great to meet
Thanks a
you.
lot.
That is brilliant. Congrats, Pamela. That's
Great.
awesome.
Kevin will be a great partner for Nameberry because he has deep experience in this.
Hey, look it. I kind of let that one play a little bit because it seems like, hey, I love what Kevin did. He said, okay, I'll do that deal. And then he just walked up as if she accepted it. I still don't know if she kind of formally accepted the offer. She wanted 350,000 for 5%. He wanted a 33rd and a third. She wanted the 24.9 so she can keep a majority of 51% of ownership. And he accepted that offer. Now, whether or not she is doing it or not, that's one thing. But I do think Kevin is one of those guys who is big on data. And I think he identified that, hey, with all this data that she's able to stockpile or compile over the last 10, 15 years, this is something that she can or that he can kind of use or sell or leverage to other people and get more than a $1.1 million. So again, kudos to Pam because she's kind of had a company from an advertising model, $1.1 million, $650,000 in profit, which is, I think that's amazing. But I think Kevin is going to really kind of pump the steroids into this thing. And like I said, be able to leverage that data in ways that they weren't doing it. They just weren't doing it at this point in time. So I'm actually interested in this one. And they really didn't talk about the patent side of things, but I would imagine that she has at least a utility patent on kind of the method for kind of coming up with names and things like that. So let's and the fact that she got the data, again, it's a data world, unfortunately, at this point. So let's kind of take a look at the website. I was able to look at Nameberry, and she does have that trademark. So kudos to her. The website, again, pretty straightforward here. Kind of just scroll through it. Again, it gives you the top 1,000 baby names. I guess I want like a unique baby name. I wouldn't want my name to be, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm kind of different in that way. But there you go. You see the Shark Tank thing there? Typically, you will see, look at over 128,000 subscribers, which is crazy. And the fact that, as she talked about having a 50% open rate of the newsletter, she's killing the game as far as, again, the data. Her community is very engaged, which is a great thing. Typically, you will see the patent information down here, but looks like they don't have anything. Again, I guess typically they can keep that process or system as a trade secret. So instead of doing it as a patent, so I'm not sure that maybe they took that route. But yeah, she at least has the Nameberry trademark. So kudos to her on that one. I think that was an interesting one. I knew Damon was going to be out. Kind of again, Lori, the guest Shark, they weren't kind of really tech people. I thought Mark would be a little bit more interested than he is. I figured he's like, hey man, it's not enough worth. It's not the juice is not worth the squeeze, and maybe that was a big part of him being out because he is a kind of techie guy. And Mr. Wonderful, I think, saw an opportunity and ran with it, especially if to get 24.9% of the company. Now, who knows whether or not the deal actually closes, but I do think he's the right person as he's kind of big on data, aggregation of data, being able to leverage that to sell it or use it to get money. So kind of kudos to Pam for getting something. I would love to hear from you guys. Let you know your thoughts. And please let me know this. Have you used Nameberry to name your kid? If so, are you satisfied with it? What did you think of it? Are you on the newsletter still? And again, let me know. I would love to kind of hear from people who actually kind of use the service to kind of help out with kind of the naming of their children. That'd be interesting. So again, another pretty good one. And she's making money, which is, again, the number one goal in business is to make money. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Peace.